Before I start this out, I want us to think about something. If you had a group of people that you were sent to show leadership to, and you notice in the group of people, they were harsh to each other. You know, they were gossiping, backbiting, overly critical about each other's work, you know, sabotaging each other, all these different things, giving each other a hard time. Where would you start with changing that culture? Okay. Now, the people is Aquarius. The culture obviously is Cancer. Okay. So here's how, well, one of the ways that could be addressed, even if you thought about this with kids, with kids can be, kids can be very harsh, to each other, right? They show up at the bus stop with certain shoes, certain kind of clothes, fashionable, presentation. And we know kids can really go in on each other and hurt each other's feelings, all right? Doing the dozens, all that. We know how that goes. So how is this addressed? The way that this is addressed is, okay, whoever the children are that's being harsh to the other kids, you address it by the conversation that they have with themselves. That's where it starts. How do you feel about yourself? What do you think about yourself? How do you feel when you put on certain shoes? What if you can't have name brand shoes? How would you feel about yourself? What if you don't have a perfect haircut every day of school? What would you think of yourself? What if you raise your hand to answer a question and you got the answer wrong? Okay? And the kids start laughing at you. What would you think of yourself? Right? What if you were the fat kid in school and people call you fat boy or whatever else? What do you think of yourself? Right? Now, this gets projected onto the other kids. That's where it starts. So if you teach the kids to care for themselves, they'll start caring for each other. If you teach the kids to have positive conversation with themselves, they'll have positive conversation with each other. If you teach the kids not to be harsh in their language to themselves, in the conversation with themselves, it will reflect in how they relate to others in their communication. It's about the perception of the self. It's about how they care for self or not. If they're not looking out for each other, when they leave their property in certain places, a kid leaves a jacket on the playground, on the basketball court, everybody goes in for lunch, and the kid forgets his coat, but his friend just left it out there, in the rain. When you care about your own property, when your parents teach you to respect your own property, to really care about your own property, you have heightened psychic awareness of the same crisis with other people. Oh, so-and-so left this coat, let me get it. Why? Because if that was my coat, it would be a problem. Understand? So what I'm about to explain, it goes along this line, and that what we're being taught, what we're being prepped for with Aquarius Ceres transit, is we're learning how to project and reflect care to other people, starting with care for the self. Negligence to the self is going to equal negligence to the opportunities that you have to care for others. Understand? Abandonment to self is going to equal abandonment to others. Insensitivity to self is going to lead to insensitivity to others. Understand? So everything starts with self. We're changing the culture, starting with Ceres passing through Aquarius, which is care for self. Care for self, so that it could be reflected in your care for others. Understand? In fact, this situation, well, what I'm speaking about now, what it reminds me of, before that I had sons, I had nephews. And I had nephews in my care for, a couple of years while, some family matters were being sorted out. And two of my nephews, they, were arguing, going back and forth. And every day after work, I had this chalkboard that I built in the kitchen. And I took one of the countertops and I built the chalkboard, going from end to end of the countertop, because every day after work, I would go to boxing. And then after boxing, I would come home and I would, teach them Arabic. I would teach them how to pray, the 5 daily prayers, of course, Islamic thing. I also would teach them things about life, spirituality, so on and so forth. I would teach them using a chalkboard. And so I came home from work and then boxing, and, finally got home, and there was a, issue going on with, my nephews. And, they were arguing and really going at each other's throat. It got really bad, okay? Because it just persisted, for so long. So what I had them to do, I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. First of all, I want you to write 10 things on this paper that you like about yourselves, okay? You write 10 things on this paper that you like about yourself. You write 10 things on this paper that you like about yourself, okay? And then they brought me the paper. I said, oh, that's great. Read it out to me. So they took turns and read it out to me. Then after that, I said, okay, tell me 10 things that you like about him, and I want you to tell me 10 things that you like about him. They went and did it. They came back, and I had them read it to each other, okay? They read it out loud to each other, and the facial expressions, the expressions on the face, running from a smile to a little grin, and, they look angry in some cases. It looked like a little demon was coming out or something, you know what I mean? It was quite comical that they had to say these things to each other. They had this shock on their face, like, hold up, I thought I was just writing this. I didn't know I had to actually tell them, So after that, I instigated, and I'm sitting there, I'm saying, now look at that. All along, you think he feels a certain way about you, but look what he just said about you. He likes this about you. He likes that. Oh, what else did you say on that paper? He likes that about you, likes that. Now, isn't that something? I mean, maybe you want to say thank you or, whatever, and I instigated. Understand? And so this is the same type of thing in essence, okay? Is that for the self, we're learning to do this. What do you like about the authentic self now that you have finally become authentic again? Now that you have let yourself become authentic, now that you have allowed yourself to come back to being the real person, what do you like about yourself? What do you love about yourself? And what does self, the real self, what does the real self need that the real self wasn't getting because you were too afraid to be the self? You were going to war with the self. You were fighting the self. You were resisting the self. Just like those two kids were going back and forth with each other. You were going back and forth with your false Venus illusion self, your delusional self, programmed by the people, socially engineered by society, and the real authentic self that was begging you through Uranus, give me a chance because I know how to get you to your destiny. But you kept arguing. This is a time where you have to reconcile with that and make peace with the fact that, okay, I've become authentic now. It comes with smoke. It comes with rejection. It comes with isolation. It comes with betrayal. It comes with abandonment. All of that. I suddenly became infamous, right? But I accept it because it's me. It's who I am. And I need to dig and find, what do I love about being this person? Understand? And this person needs care. So what care does the authentic self need that I didn't realize in the past timeline? Well, that discovery starts now as Ceres is passing through Aquarius. And what we're going to learn is to recognize that other people are going through the same crisis, and we know how to show up for them because we're going to be able to spot it. Hey, that person's just like me. They're going through the same thing I'm going through, but in a different way. Let me help them. Because I know that certain words help me. Certain gestures help me. So let me help this person. Understand. Now, because this is number 9 Virgo South Node energy that we're dealing with from here on out for the next 18 months, we have to keep our eye on where Venus is at and what that means for us. Venus has just made its way out of Pisces into Aries, and Venus will come back into Pisces during retrograde. This lets you know that there's a lot to dissolve. There's a lot to cleanse and purify. There's a lot to wash away, is what this means. Everything about this carries a number 9 vibration because of Venus. The number 9 vibration has everything to do with making sure that you don't hurt yourself with Venus, that you don't hurt somebody else with Venus. Venus is not the one that informs your care. Venus is not the one that gets you in touch with love. And that's why it's the greatest misconception that people push around, that Venus is the planet of love. Venus is the wish for the feeling of love according to what you think love is in romantic ideals. And you will never, ever, ever know what love is through that. Love is truly understood between Virgo and Scorpio. Virgo and Scorpio. Vesta has to host, and Pisces has to host what love really is. And Pisces is very challenging work. It's challenging work with the self, to where you got to get down to the core, the realness of the self, peeling away all the fakeness, all the layers of face masks and frauds and facades. You can't get to love until you get to the real. And this is what we have to get right. Parading around, misrepresenting love in its totality. Not even getting close to the mark. Way off. So Venus going through Pisces, you're getting a glimpse of the fact that you have to let go of what you were identifying with, and Venus carries public opinion, social ideals, social opinion, collective opinion, what the people think, what the people want you to do, what the people want you to be, what the people will approve of. And this is especially with females. And it's with females because the approval of females or disapproval of females is what determines the culture of tomorrow, what they approve of. So it's females especially who have to go through the deepest transformation out of everyone. It's females, young females in particular, because this is Venus. This is who has to change so that the culture itself can change. We're learning to come out of being spellbound by the power of Venus. This is being spellbound by a big old butt. Libra rules the butt. Spellbound by pretty faces. Libra rules beauty. Spellbound and charm by personalities. The camera angles. Accessories. All these extra things. And can't get in touch with your wisdom. Can't get in touch with your sense. That number 9 is going to make sure that you face that mirror of Isis and you see the truth in the mirror. And now you could get a true estimate of what you're lacking to manifest self-care without these illusions in the way. Let's say you have a young man who has everything he needs. He gets up, he goes to work every day. He's got a nice, humble home for his place, home for himself, a car, whatever. He's doing well for himself, working a 9 to 5, all right? And he's in a position where he doesn't have to ask, he doesn't have to beg, he could do for self. He's already manifested success. That is success, to where he's created a lifestyle that affords him peace, security, and self-sufficiency, dignity, and self-respect. That is success. Now, if he decides to listen to what females or Venus is saying, listen, If he decides to listen to what females are saying or Venus is saying, he's going to be infiltrated with ideas, thoughts that he is not yet successful. Because according to what females say, he has failed. He's nothing. He's dusty. He's broke. He's this and he's that. But yet he has obtained success. Anything else is extra. He has peace of mind. He brings this girl over, and in the environment that he created for himself, that he has contentment in, she tells him, you need this. You need that. Oh, you're missing this and you're missing that. Now he's spending money on all this stuff. Oh, don't you want to go here and do this? Don't you want to go here and do that? No, I don't. I'm content. Oh, you lame. You boring. Now his lifestyle is adjusted not by his own heart, but by the infiltration of somebody else's heart. And what the fuck somebody else want. It's things like this. It's infiltration of the authentic self that has self to submit to ideas and realities that are not true of the self. Young man can have it made, but because a female comes around and has something to say, criticize, judge, critique about the way he lives, what he's doing, now he feels like he's lacking, he's missing out. Now he thinks he's in poverty. Now he thinks he's lost in life. Now he thinks lesser of himself because he's not filthy rich making six figures. But he's wealthy because he has everything he needs. He doesn't have to beg. He doesn't have to ask. He's self-sufficient. And you could obtain that at $40,000, $70,000, $100,000. You could obtain that in working a 9 to 5 as a entrepreneur. There's so many ways you could obtain that. But if you listen to females, you will be misdirected and misled. You will be confused about yourself. You will look down on yourself. You will lack in the self-esteem that you need. You will be out of touch with reality because God has provided for you. God has blessed you. And you let females come along and tell you something about the reality that God has blessed you with. And you look at it with your nose turned up because females in their delusion have told you that this is not success, and it is. Part of Ceres is caring for yourself enough to get the noise out of your life, to get the distractions out of your life so that you can see the reality that you have been blessed with. And it includes acknowledgement of spiritual forces and grace that has entered into your life. And you can't have that concentration with females. Females will fuck that up every time. They don't know how to be content. They don't know how to have peace. They don't know how to be grateful and appreciative until they reach maturity of womanhood. And that's through a father or through a husband. That's through a father and that's through a husband. So good luck to you. Society is learning how to recalibrate what value is, to redesign and configure a truer concept of success and victory. And it does not include the opinion of females. It does not. Venus is being purged from polluting, obscuring, misinforming, perverting the true vision in the reality of Earth through the number 9. That number 9 sees life for what it really is because the number 9 manifests understanding. It's beyond wisdom. It manifests understanding. The number 9 is the monk that has become detached from the world, in the world, but not of the world. So there's 2 transits I want us to contemplate, consider, prepare for, get intentional about. And these two transits are Mercury conjuncting Ceres and the Sun conjuncting Ceres. Now, Ceres it's the sunlight of care. It's all about care. Care through resources, care through concern, service, expression. What can I do for you? Also, what can I do for myself? Ceres is to not overlook what requires care for yourself, for others. So when Ceres is concentrated in a particular expression, it's asking you to concentrate care to that expression. Whatever house that Ceres is localized at in its transit, it's asking you to bring care to that house at that degree for reasons that aligns with the purpose of the time, with the value of the time. Considering astrology, things are about timing. It's about timing. When these transits are asking you to bring care to a particular house during a particular season, and you wait until another season to bring care to that particular house, you're out of sync. You're out of sync. Real point is that we're aligned and we're in sync, and this is why our awareness is important of these transits. We have a real advantage, we have a real blessing, and that we're open-minded enough to consider astrology. Understand? So where does care need to identify with your communications, Mercury? And where does care need to identify with your personal expressions, the Sun? Okay? And this is in Aquarius. Aquarius is what hosts the timeline of transformation, as Pluto is now transiting Aquarius. It's bringing our transformational experiences to Aquarius themes, collectively and individually. So we're being asked now to initiate care in this area of our life. Now, Ceres entered Aquarius January 19th, 2025, and it will leave Aquarius February 18th, 2025. All right? So this month-long transit, we're off to a good start if we're lining up with the opportunity of the timeline. The opportunity of the timeline. Aquarius themes has something to do with your service. It has something to do with what you serve people with, based on your experiences, based on your wisdom, based on your mastery, based on what you have become very good and efficient at doing. It's where your genius is at, Uranus. It's where you host a great deal of authority from experience. Aquarius is where you realize I'm not important or as important as what we are here to do. I'm the team player. It's about us. It's about what we came together to do. Keep this in mind about your Aquarius placement. It's also where you're experiencing yourself as a revolutionary, as a rebel, and hopefully in the context of being a rebel with a cause, a revolutionary for the revelation, not for selfish aims or reasons. The house is significant, and this is where it gets Particular, this is where it gets unique to who you are and what your life means. Where Aquarius is at in your natal birth chart, that tells the story of what this looks like for you. Being that this is not a personal reading, I'm going to try to be general in a sense where every detail that I'm saying could possibly apply to all of us. Understand? You could get a personal reading if you want to understand what this was or is supposed to mean for you. Ceres through Aquarius. Now, Ceres through Aquarius, first of all, you're running into the need to open your mind up to innovation, to separate your feelings and emotions from the experience, and step into an ethereal, intellectual plane and how you're addressing things and how you're showing up for matters. Stepping out of personalization with the reality that you're in concerning Aquarius. Again, this goes with the context of your house natally that you host Aquarius. In that reality, Cancer Mars is a very hot, emotional, watery energy that's tempting us to make everything about ourselves. It's tempting us to personalize all of the emotional dramas, experiences, and challenges that we're passing through as a result of showing up with that service, Aquarius. When we deal with people, when we serve people, when we find ourselves in the reality of Aquarius according to who we are, we run into the human nature. We run into the person who was born from the womb of a woman. And every last one of us was born from the womb of a woman. Therefore, we have feelings. We have sensitivities. And there are things that can trigger us to make us feel or think that there's injustice at hand. There's unfairness. That we have to advocate for self or advocate for others. Being taken advantage of, being wrong, being bullied. These different things. Who's going to care for the person who's crying? Who's going to care for the person who's overlooked or injured? It's inevitable that these things are going to come up. But what Aquarius Ceres is asking us to do is separate, compartmentalize, learn how to compartmentalize so that emotion is not driving our decisions and emotion is not driving our approach, but it is guiding our sensitivity. The appropriate way to use Cancer Mars energy is to advocate for self and others in healthy and productive ways. I feel and I sense what's there, but I have to gather information to reduce the cloudiness in my judgment. I have to gather information. I have to pull off the ethereal to stay in a place of clarity about what I'm feeling for myself or what I'm feeling for others. Because this is how we end up using 5 bullets for one target and we still miss the target. We're drawing swords, we're drawing blood, we're starting wars, we're starting fights, we're all over the place, and we have accomplished nothing but separation, frustration, alienation, chaos, trouble, problems, drama, tears everywhere, but nothing's productive. It's a beautiful balance that Ceres comes into Aquarius because it asks us, hold on, go higher. Go higher. You don't have to sit there and cry. You're still empowered to give yourself the care that you feel you need. You're still empowered to get other people involved to get the care that you need. You're not going to be able to see it if you worship your feelings. You're not going to be able to see it if you worship your emotions. Your feelings and your emotions is helping you to detect what is under the moonlight, to detect what is in the water, where your eyes cannot see, but you can feel and sense. Remember, Cancer is the crab. It moves through brackish water. Brackish water, you know, the blend of salt and fresh water, dark water, muddy water. Cancer represents muddy waters. Extensively, it represents the ocean, salty waters. Okay? Locally, muddy waters. Expansively, salty waters. You can't see through either one, except where it gets close to the earth, at the shoreline. Trying to see through such thick emotional loads is futile. You have to become amphibious in a sense, to where you become aware of your presence in the air as well as in the water. Something has to stick up from the surface of the water so that you can have greater visibility. And you have to shine light, information, awareness, higher consciousness. You have to shine light into the situation, or the picture remains obscured by feelings and emotions, inaccuracies. I don't like this, I don't like that. Ceres asks us, what do you have the power to do to take care of yourself? Where can you take care of yourself? Where can you pull off Aquarius to take care of yourself? And that might mean being quite revolutionary in your own life because of the revelation that you see. That greater care is required. Innovative ideas of Aquarius is required in order to keep up with the change of the environment, the circumstances, the timeline. And I can't lose access to my own personal care as things are changing. So I have to get innovative in how I care for myself. I have to get innovative in how I answer these questions of the inner child. Cancer, Mars, that's demanding me to be an advocate for his or her security. I have to get innovative. I have to get very genius about my approach. This means some part of me has to reach into the air, the ethereal of intelligence, to find answers, not just indulging and soaking and loathing in my feelings. I've got to get some air pulled into the situation. You have to be amphibious. The crab dwells in the water as much as it dwells in the land. We've got to do both. Stick your head above the water. What can you do to meet the demands of the inner child that's saying, I need greater care. I need attention over here. I need help and support over here. What could you do to answer those questions? And what remains of what you have no power or authority to do, to make effect to, you call for help and support. You get people involved. But of course, we don't do so without understanding that just as others need, just as you need, others need too. It should be a balance of reciprocation, reciprocity. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. You have my back, I have your back. You look out for me, I'll look out for you. And what this ends up becoming is culture. It becomes an environment. Because we're setting a tone of care, setting a tone of concern. With all the suffering that self is doing, to feel a level of comfort and security, emotional well-being, that somebody's there to hear or listen, show up to defend me, or me defend myself. All of those experiences are futile if we turn it into F everybody, write everybody off, close the bridge. What it's meant to do is bring us higher, not lower. And going higher means I don't want somebody else to suffer what I suffer. It doesn't feel good not to have help. It doesn't feel good not to have support. It doesn't feel good to be rejected or abandoned. It doesn't feel good to be left behind. So it's not for us to take and recreate those experiences for other people, but to prevent that from happening or becoming the case for other people through our care. And through us caring for ourselves, we became empowered about our situation and not a victim. And when we see others as suffering the same thing, we help them to become empowered instead of enabling a victim mindset. We help them to become empowered. It takes a person who has become empowered to empower another person. It takes a person who has victimized themselves out of their experiences to enable the victim mindset in another person. So Ceres is part of the details, part of the ingredients that helps us to empower ourselves in the realities of our tragedies. And this tragedy has to do with Cancer Mars transit, which is, I don't feel secure. I feel emotionally depleted, alienated. I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. I don't feel covered. I don't feel housed. I don't feel clothed. I don't feel cared for. I don't feel nurtured. Ceres reminds us that we have the ability to provide these things for self. Although it's with limitation, we can make that start to empower self to do so. And this is through innovative means. And innovation is not like creation. Mars deals with creation. Uranus deals with innovation. And when we're innovating, we're improving upon what we have already done. We're improving upon the technology of a system, an instrument, a thought process, an organization, an infrastructure. We're improving upon it in order to make it more efficient. We're increasing efficiency to what already has been. And this is part of what makes the conversion from the past timeline into the current timeline, so that our well-being, our wellness goes along with the transfer of timeline of the past into the present timeline with Aquarius Pluto transit, as well as the North Node Pisces and South Node Virgo transit. We have to step into this context. And stepping into this context, self still needs care. Mars has been going back and forth from Cancer to the first decan of Leo, helping us to iron out and heal and address, face the pressures of emotional discontent within ourselves. The emotional discontent with ourselves was very much inflammatory. And we were given grace as we worked through it. Some of us ruined our reputations. We destroyed relationships. We set things on fire. We made a mess. But grace came with that because that was part of the plan. It was part of the schedule. We had to bleed out the toxins in the blood. There's an old concept called bloodletting. Okay, bloodletting. It's a bloodletting. This Cancer Mars, and we had to get that dark energy out of the blood that came from generational curses, that came from self-undoings, that came from self-sabotage, that came from unhealthy dynamics in the domestic, especially with the mother. We had to bleed out these energies, these demons, these shadows. We had to bleed it out. Mars will be going direct motion the end of this month, if I'm accurate about that, the end of this month, or either the last week of February or let me get some accuracy in here. Beautiful. So Mars, let's see. Yeah, so last week of February, Mars will be going direct motion. And as Mars goes in direct motion, we've already healed these things. We've already dealt with these things. And I'm here to tell you that don't think that just because you had an ugly, bloody mess in the water, okay, with that Cancer Mars, it's not for you to feel ashamed. It's not for you to feel like it has not been accomplished, because I'm here to tell you that it has been accomplished, even without you knowing completely what you accomplished. There is accuracy in all these transits. We're removing very deep emotional energies that only the configurations of this universe and all of its accuracy and wisdom could have set us up and prepared us to accomplish. And it has been accomplished. So with Mars going back in direct motion, the inner child has received justice. Only justice can quiet the frustration of Mars, because Mars only becomes inflamed over injustices. It is the planet of justice, understand? Justice and truth. Reconciliation with justice, reconciliation with truth is the only thing that can quiet Ogun. It is the only thing that can quiet Mars. Mars descended from the hill, Ogun descended from the hill, covered, dressed in fire and blood. The infamy of truth and justice and the purification of fire. Victory over its enemies. And the enemies begin within. The war, the battlefield is within. What we were dealing with. Now we're on the side of victory concerning Cancer Mars. Ogun has given us victory. Mars has given us victory. We now have victory over the battlefield of Cancer. The battlefield of the domestic. The battlefield of the origins of our toxic emotions. The battlefield over the root of what was in the water, plaguing us with self-sabotage and self-undoings. We have demolished generational curses. In a short timeline, we have demolished generational curses. We are victorious because Ogun is always victorious. With Ceres passing through Aquarius, this is a victory lap that says now, dress your wounds, dress your cuts. If you have cuts and sores, injuries from this battle that you fought through Cancer Mars, it's time to pour oil in those wounds and cuts. It's time to pour water and cleanse them. It's time to heal yourself. It's time to dress your battle wounds. It's time to bring care to yourself, self-care. What happens inevitably in us showing up for ourselves and giving ourselves self-care, we learn how to care for others. When we show our self-compassion, we learn how to show others compassion. When we honor and respect our own needs for care, purity, cleanliness, healing, the resources, the words that heals us internally. When we learn to give that to ourselves, that which we need, we also learn how to give it to others. Anything that we want to do for others, it first has to be done for self. How we do for self is how we do others. It's just like giving readings, for example. You may read the tarot cards, you may read astrology to help other people. But if you're not using it solely first, if you're not first using it solely to answer questions for yourself, to solve your own problems, to heal yourself, to align yourself, you're not going to know how to help others. You're going to be making it up as you go. You're going to be another commercial in the crowd. There's not going to be anything special or unique about the service that you're giving to other people. The realer you get with yourself, the realer you can get with other people when you give them that service. And this is why you can't just go to anybody and get a quality reading. Because everybody doesn't respect themselves, first of all, and how they read for themselves, if they do at all. For some, it's just about the ego. I want to help, I want to help, I want to help, but you don't help yourself. You don't take care of yourself. You don't respect yourself. The lifestyle of a person is what produces the quality of the reading. What you do when nobody's watching, how you live when nobody sees you, that is what makes the reading quality or not. That is what gives you the ability to give somebody a reading to where they walk off with notes that can change and revolutionize their life. It's your lifestyle. It's who you are when nobody's looking. It's what you do in secret. That is what makes the magic of a reading. And that's what makes the difference of when somebody's reading for you and they're giving you information and it sounds like a commercial. It sounds like poetry. It sounds like a crock of bullshit. It's because that's exactly what it is. Bullshit. Because they themselves don't practice it when nobody's looking. That's the difference. Magic happens when you do for self first. So the solution through Ceres obviously is innovation. Thinking outside the box, doing what you haven't done yet. Approaching it in a way that you have not approached it yet. Pulling together all of your resources to find solutions and efficiency in your life, making everything that has blocked you, frustrated you, held you back, hindered you, been a problem, a burden to you, finding innovative solutions for all of the challenges in your life, showing up as your own hero. Ceres to Aquarius, getting your genius involved, Uranus. Now, what's unique about a Uranus-ruled algorithm in Ceres is that authenticity is the essence of how you care for yourself. If you're not in an authentic place with yourself, you already missed the ball. You've got to be in an authentic place with yourself to manifest Aquarius Ceres. How can you care for a ghost? How can you care for a phantom? If you're living life like a ghost or a phantom, you're not being yourself. You're not authentic. You're not real. You're not sincere. You're trying to be the cookie cutter of what you see on videos, media, TV, your neighbors, your best friends, your homeboys, your homegirls, what the public opinion says. Venus, South Node Virgo helps us to reconcile with Venus by overcoming our addictions with Venus. That's what the number 9 energy is about. Authenticity is what this means. Being authentic. Who are you authentically? Now you can have accuracy to the body in what needs to be done. Your blood type and the next person's blood type requires different things. Your anatomy and the next person's anatomy, your biology and the next person's biology, your spiritual configuration and another person's, your first house and another person's first house. How can you take what somebody else is doing and make it a solution in your life? You can borrow ideas, concepts from other people, but you have to do the due diligence of finding out, first of all, who you are authentically, and then approach the actual authentic self with care. Because the authentic self needs care. When we are not being authentic, we are negligent to the self. We miss the self. The self is in absence of our care. or care is absent of the self, because it's not self who we're treating. It's a ghost or phantom of other people that we're trying to be, that we're attempting to treat instead. Your life story didn't consist of you living every day to be somebody that you envy or somebody that you're jealous of. There was no accommodation in your planets and stars for you adding things on that don't belong to you, for you incorporating features, personality traits that are not even unique or authentic to who you are. So you keep missing the ball. Coming back to the authentic self, what does a real authentic self need for care? This is what Ceres Aquarius Ceres transit is about. It's about starting and producing the process, the lifestyle, the formula, the detail, the resources, the schedule that allows you to care for the authentic self that was redeemed, that was restored, that was rebirthed. Ceres is going to conjunct this week with Mercury, and then is going to conjunct with the Sun. When Ceres conjuncts with Mercury, it's going to start communication that promotes care. Communication that promotes and sustains care. When Ceres conjuncts the Sun, it's going to promote care to the personality and expression, as well as expression and personality that delivers care. It goes in both directions. Communication that delivers care, and care that communicates the will and intention to care. It goes both directions. So this brings care into the ethereal, from the mind, from intelligence, an ethereal approach. Because the care that we've been attempting through Cancer Mars, the emotional, has been making a mess. Full of emotion and full of righteous anger, we're running like heroes to a crime scene that we don't have accurate assessment of. And we're doing more damage than we are helping. We're only making matters worse. Flying off the handle, veins popping out of the neck, doing more damage and destruction from the inflamed emotions than we are helping. Pulling off of ethereal Aquarius, which is an algorithm of selflessness and service to humanity. Selfless service to humanity. Selfless service to the people. The water barrel. Bringing water for the situation. And bringing water from the situation is not only a humble spirit, but it's an essential role to play in others' lives. But it starts with you bringing water for yourself. Bringing what is essential for your needs and your care. Self-preservation first. And then from there, you bring that same will to other people. So we learned to have this relationship with the self, of communicating to the self that your care is my priority. Your care is my first thought. Caring for you is why I'm here. I will not betray you. I will not leave you hanging. I will not leave you unanswered. I will put your needs first. And Ceres conjunct the Sun The authentic expression of the self has the power to heal. The authentic expression of the self has the power to deliver care. What is it about me authentically that has the ability to care for other people, that has the ability to serve the needs of others? What is it about me authentically that makes me key to every situation that I'm in? What is it about me that makes everything run efficiently every time I'm there? What is it about me that other people could use, utilize, rely upon? Don't forget to count the little things. Don't forget to count the little things. The little things. Even the fact that you always seem to show up with a smile. Even the fact that you show up and you always offer everybody bubble gum. It's the little things. Don't go thinking about big things. It's little things that manifest this powerful force. Communicating through Ceres, you communicate like a nurse, like a healthcare taker. You understand? This context will depend on where you have Aquarius. However, it's the 11th house for all of us. But what that is you include in your communication your body language, your posture, your demeanor, facial expressions, tone. That there's a genuine concern about the other person's status and well-being. You're trying to home in on what their needs could be. What is missing? What are you lacking? What would make it easier for you? Let's say you're at a construction site, right? Let's say you're a construction worker. Let's look at Ceres, Mercury as a construction worker, Aquarius, right? So you pull up to the job site and you're looking around at everybody, and that Aquarius algorithm has you to want to serve the people. So in serving the people, you look and you notice, okay, it's going to be a lot of work to do, whatever. I noticed nobody has water. Hey guys, I have some water, or I could go get some water. Would everybody like some water before we get started? Or on your lunch break, hey, I got some water in the coolers. It's something as simple as that. Noticing who has their safety glasses on. Paying attention to, okay, when it was time to go to lunch, I noticed that, so-and-so didn't eat anything. Why didn't he eat something? Because according to my care for myself, I have to eat something. If I'm exerting so much energy, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be weak. So reflecting that love for self out to others, it causes you to notice those things about others because you notice those things with yourself. You care for yourself, so you can't help but to notice what care means for other people too. Hey, so-and-so, I noticed you didn't go to lunch. Hey, I got an extra sandwich. I don't know, whatever. I got a protein bar. Here you go. You good? You need a few bucks. You understand? And being sincere about it. Ceres is a motherly expression. It is motherly. Okay? If we are ever confused about what Ceres is about, it is to be motherly. End of the story. When you're motherly, you check all the boxes of care. There's no archetype more complete in its expression of care than a mother. So when you consider yourself as a mother or being motherly, you are manifesting Ceres. That is to be motherly in your speech and motherly in your demeanor. That is Ceres. So if you can accomplish that, you have accomplished Ceres. And for Aquarius, or through Aquarius, it is for the collective and for the cause that you are present for. Understand? Innovating, it's an innovative mother, okay? A mother that doesn't just stick to a closed-minded view of how she can care. This is a mother that pulls off of Aquarius, which is anything. I am authorized to use every and anything I have access to meet the needs of others. That's what that means. There's no, there's no, uh, there's nothing off limits, because again, this is the outer ring of Saturn. The outer ring of Saturn. I could go any way I want to manifest a motherly concern and care with the people. I will use my personality if I have to. What does that look like, right? Sun conjunct Ceres, using your personality. Some mothers are very upbeat, and they're aware of that with themselves. So they make a contagious, positive atmosphere for, the children. They get them excited. The kid falls down and hurts his leg. They're arguing. Oh, that's not fair. He got a bigger, cake than mine. So-and-so pushed me. You know how kids like to do. They tattletale all the time. And the mother just brings that upbeat energy. She starts dancing. She starts singing and making noise and things like that. That's her personality. She's being authentic, and she's using it to bring care to conflict. You understand? And you have some that are more strict, militant, Saturn, Capricorn type mothers. Okay? And she may take a different approach. And that approach may be to, establish order. Okay? You got on the swing for 5 minutes last time. He got on the swing for 2 minutes, and y'all are arguing about, okay, here's what we're going to do. Everybody's going to get on the swing for 2 minutes, and you're going to get off. That's what we're going to do. Okay? Have fun, kids. So what you should notice, you're not going to be able to manifest Aquarius Ceres if you don't know who you are. What does your first house say about you? Okay? When the Sun conjunct Ceres, this starts the story of you using your first house and fifth house, okay? First house and fifth house, okay? Remember, Mars and the Sun are one in the first house, all right? The Sun is the sole expression of the fifth house, okay? Besides the sign or algorithm that you have there, okay? So with all of these things interchangeable, your personality is clarified. How can you use the first and fifth house? How can you use your heart soul urge number? How can you use your Sun and Mars placement to deliver the value of care innovatively in any case in your life? How can you do it? It starts with you knowing yourself, and it starts with you accepting who you are authentically. According to that, you have your answer. Understand? The Mercury series refer to your natal Mercury sign, okay? Your natal Mercury placement, that is. What does it say about your particular mode or way of communicating? How do you communicate? And you also want to look at your third house to understand how you imply and how you infer. Between those two, you should have a detailed insight on how to produce or manifest Mercury series in the most authentic expression of the self. Right there. Now, if you bring the Sun and Mercury together with Ceres, expression of the personality towards care, you also have to refer to Aries, which is the strength of your personality. What is behind the strength of your personality? What is the tip of the knife of yourself? Aries is the tip of the knife of the self. It is the strongest point of the self, the most effective point of the self. How can you use that to serve and not to stab and hurt and cut? Understand? So this initiates our collective body, all of us, okay, as a global community. It initiates us showing up as caretakers of one another. But it begins with us being caretakers of the self sincerely and authentically. That's where it begins. But we're starting to manifest care for each other from a sincere and genuine perspective. Understand? It's coming in, and we all have to show up and participate. Cancer Mars transit has been accomplished. Generational curses have been crushed. If you've been doing the work. If you have been doing the work. I emphasize again, if you have been doing the work. And this time around, when Mars passes through Cancer and Leo, you are going to have a different outcome, a productive outcome. You're going to see success and you're going to see victory. You're going to notice that you have demolished generational curses. You have destroyed generational curses. And the end result is a loving being who serves selflessly, causing innovative revolution that shows up as a people caring for the people, for themselves. And that's how you take down centralized government. That's how you take down the oppressive state. You show up as the people who cares about each other, taking care of each other, uplifting each other, supporting each other, being the security blanket of each other, not through neglecting the self, but through first showing up for self so that you can reflect the self-care to others. That is what's in your water gourd as an Aquarius bringing or bearing water. You're bearing the water that you fished out for self, that you poured out for self. You're using that same water. Not being hypocritical. You giving me lotion, but your knees is ashy. You know what I'm saying? Come on. What are we doing? Don't overlook Ceres. Don't overlook this. Let's be intentional and let's be present with practicing this. The care, starting with the self, giving the authentic self what it needs, caring for the authentic self, acknowledging the authentic self, no longer allowing negligence to the authentic self, nurturing the authentic self, giving the authentic self all of the resources, support, and even words that self needs to hear and feel. This is a positive counteraction to Cancer Mars. As Cancer Mars is about to go direct, we are on the progressive side, the victorious journey back to the village of the self after having won this battle. Ogun descended from the hill covered in blood, victory over his enemies. We now have victory over these enemies internally. With that Cancer portion of our body being healthy now, being purged now, that inner child is healthy, secure. The inner child is now ready to uphold its burdens that were destined for him or her. And that Leo is not going to be a narcissistic expression, but instead a light, just like the splendor of the sun, that comes to give warmth, confidence, and security to others, to show up in in the generosity of what it can afford to give out to others. At the South Node, we have Virgo, which is the polisher of Leo. It is the producer of Leo. And we're learning to let go of those shadows that used to have its addictions to Venus. The number 9 is pulling us out of addictions with Venus, spells and curses with Venus, unhealthy terms and relationships and practices, behaviors with Venus, so that we can be reborn through the number 9 hermit card process, where the heart becomes the center of understanding and clarification. Not trying to be perfect in the eyes of others, Venus. Not trying to compete with others to be irreplaceable, Venus. Not becoming workaholics, thinking that is going to save us from a certain status that we don't want to have. It's futile. The same way we're looking at ourselves as being so perfect that I can't step outside without a wig on. I can't step outside without lashes. I can't step outside being myself. I can't be authentic. I don't have the courage to do it. I'm afraid to be myself. I'm afraid to be who I really am. I'm afraid to show any signs that I'm human. I have to be one of the Instagram cookie cutter status. I have to look like a perfect doll. I have to look like a dream. My life has to look like I got it all together. I have to look like I'm rich. I have to look like I have a credit score of 900. I have to look like I made it. I have to look like my status is up and over and beyond. I have to look like everybody is beneath me. I have to maintain the idea and the status that nobody's good enough for me. I'm better than you. He got to have 6 figures. He got to be 6 feet tall. He got to make $450,000 a year. But you sitting there looking like, well, not even go there. The point I'm making is the way that Venus in its shadow in the past timeline has gotten us to a place of being artful concepts, delusional artful concepts of our ideals, Neptune, instead of realistic and authentic expressions of the self exemplified. That crisis is being addressed through the South Node Virgo, which is you're not going to be able to pull it off. You're not rich. You're not making 6 figures for some of you. Everybody's not a model. Some people are very attractive. Some people are very ugly. Some people are fat. Some people are in shape. Some people got good credit. Some people got bad credit. Some people have good kids. Some people got badass kids. Some people made poor decisions. Some people made great decisions in certain areas. Guess what? You're one of them. I'm one of them. We are one of them. All of us have a portion of that ugly pie that we want to disassociate ourselves from. We want to disassociate ourselves from the human aspect of ourselves, and it's not realistic. South Node Virgo is going to address that. You don't got it all together. You're not all that. It's all in your head. Yeah, you got this degree and you got that degree and that degree. But the guy that's a garbage, but the garbage guy is a perfect husband for you. Yeah, you got all these you got property and material and all this stuff, status and everything else. But that girl she's not a supermodel, but she's the sweetest woman that you ever known. She is head over heels in love with you. And she wants to do nothing but make you happy. She's a perfect person. but instead you want a model to walk on your arm. We're having to look at ourselves in the mirror and get realistic. We're having to look ourselves in the mirror and accept the truth of what's there. That's North Node Pisces, having acceptance. It is about acceptance. Pisces is not about physical action that results in a status. That's being done away with at the South Node Virgo. North Node Pisces is accept your reality. Accept what is for you. Accept what is inevitably your fate or your destiny. Accept it because there is good in it. There's a wisdom to it. There's reason. All these divorces and separation and I can't get with this person, I don't like that person, and the stupidest reason. Who out here has ever watched, you can say in the comment section, it's the show called Pop the Balloon. In the Pop the Balloon show, it's sometimes girls, sometimes guys that line up, and you have a candidate who, would be who's supposed to be the ideal person to date all these guys or girls. And the reasons that some of these people pop the balloon, it really could be a case study on where we are in society. I don't like your shoes. I don't like your hairline. That's an ugly shirt. Oh, you work a 9 to 5. It's just the most silly reasons that people are dismissing each other or not even giving a chance to each other. And really, that's the Venus. That Venus is a concept of the self that's based on art and not reality. It's like you drew an image of yourself that's not even you. You made a doll of yourself that's not even the authentic self. And you wear this mask to the world that you're something that you're not, that you're a value that you are not at. And it becomes a common fever that passes around. And Virgo is going to pop that bubble. South Node Virgo is going to dissolve that lie. It's going to confront that lie with the number 9. And that number 9 is going to say, you got to look in the mirror, because that's exactly what the 9 is. It's the mirror of Isis. And looking in the mirror of Isis, you have to see the truth and you have to become reborn. You have to be authentic. You have to be real. You have to be yourself. Look at the tragedy of what it's causing to society, to the world. People are dismissing each other, perfectly good people, dismissing each other over the most ridiculous reasons. And the reasons that people finally come together are based on consumption, material, status, which really roots back to insecurity of the self. Everybody's an entrepreneur. Everybody's rich. Everybody got all this name brand this and name brand that. It's a superficial sickness through Venus that South Node Virgo is going to have us to address through the number 9 energy. Rebirth of the self authentically. Coming out of the lie of the self from the spells, magic, and witchcraft of Venus. And we know that what's behind that is feminism and liberalism, consumerism, capitalism. Corporate interests in the engineering of the people through CIA and FBI and all these other things. Yes, they have everything to do with how you end up getting people like Sexy Red as a social engineer, Glorilla as a social engineering, CIA and everything else. They got everything to do with how you socially engineer a people per generation. And this is what you get. The silliness. We're getting back to the reality of the self. North Node Pisces, there's a lot we're going to have to learn to accept and give grace to. We're going to have to dissolve the lies, dissolve the hype, dissolve the falsehoods, dissolve the delusions, dissolve the commercialism over everything. Pisces A Pisces can see a person for who they really are. That's first of all. Any of you out there who are Pisces rising, Pisces sun, or have a strong Pisces placement, wherever we have Pisces, you're able to see the reality. It goes both ways. Yes, you could be quite delusional. But when it comes to people, Pisces can see through any portrayal that a person is putting up. Any facade that a person is putting up, Pisces can see right through it. Pisces see, oh, okay, you got all that stuff on and you looking like this or that, but I see the real person. Okay, tell me whatever you want, but I see the real person. I want you guys to look up a certain person, right? His name is 607 Unk. Okay, 607 Unk. Let me know in the comment section if you know who he is or if you looked him up. 607 Unk. Now, somebody like that, I don't know if he's a Pisces, all right? I know he did admit that he had a crack addiction. But when you listen to somebody like 607 Unk, it reminds me of how Pisces energy works, okay? He's not there to impress. He's not there to put on a facade. He's not there to be something he's not. He is what he is. He is who he is. And his sincerity is the beauty. The sincerity is also the authority. He has full acceptance for who he is and how he is, what he is. And in the reverse, he's able to see the reality of things. He dissolves the false image, the false portrayal of everything in front of him, and he gets down to the truth every time. Just listen to him. 607 Unk. If you listen to him, if you see him, you see what I'm saying about how Pisces energy works. It looks right through the image and it dissolves it and it gets at the truth, the essence of what's really there. You know, it's like, shorty, you sitting here, you got this degree, that degree, you got these nice clothes and big old cars and all this other stuff. But look, you sitting on the next nigga. Oh, he need to make $450,000 a year. How much is your school loans? Okay, what loan did you take out for that truck? What loan did you take out to get that house? Oh, okay. Now subtract that from your, okay. And your gross income is what? Oh, revenue what? Okay, so how are you not in the same financial reality and predicament as Mr. So-and-so picking up bricks and mortar on a construction job? How are you not equal? See, it's illusions. I seen on that same show, Pop the Balloon show, right? This lady asked this guy, oh, take the hat off. Why you come out? I popped the balloon because you came out here with the hat on. You should have took the hat off. So he takes the hat off and she looks at, oh, okay, yeah, no problem, whatever. But here's the thing. You got a wig on. So what's the difference? You want him to take his hat off, but you don't take your wig off. What's the difference? See, Pisces sees through the bullshit. It sees through the facade. It sees through the illusion. It gets right down to what's really going on, what it really is. And this is what humanity is going to regain. We're going to regain our ability to see things for what they really are, not as it presents itself to be. To see things as they really are, not as it presents itself to be. That's Pisces North Node, number 7. Number 7. Standing 7 in the sun. I come from 5% origin in my youth, understand? Standing 7 in the sun. Seeing things for what they really are, not as it presents itself to be. Understand? Knowing how to weigh true value. How to judge true value. And true value includes the essence of things. What's behind forms and registers. Understand. Understand. You think that real value is you making $100,000 a year and this person makes $20,000 a year. But you got to consider the whole body of the person to know what value is really there. You might have the advantage financially, but this person might save you from hurting yourself with your finances. even though they don't make that much of the finances. You might have access to all these lines of credits and things and fancy stuff in material realm under your full command, but this person might have the spiritual command that you do not have access to, and it might save you and your legacy because the person's involved in your life. But it's not something that we're trained to take value in, to respect, to honor, to appreciate, to cherish, to receive. But because number 9 is going to separate us from the delusions and illusions of Venus, the abuse of self, the addictions, the living a lie, making art out of the concept of your life, oh yeah, we're going to get sober. That's all that is, getting sober. Anyone with a life path number 9 or heart soul urge number 9, this is a person who has a lifetime to get sober from Venus. And you usually get sober at 29 years old. 29 years old, you finally get sober. And when you get sober, you see Venus for who she really is. She can never lie to you again. She can't trick you. You don't fall for the okie doke. You see life for what it really is. And when you see it for what it really is, you're ready to die. This doesn't mean you go looking for death. It means that you have already accepted death because you've accepted the reality of this life and what it means and what it's intended for. And what includes with that is the passing out of this life as well. The number 9 knows how to die. The number 9 has already died before they died. So they get to enjoy their life in a sincere way, detached, free, ready to go. I'm ready to go at any time. I know because I'm a life path 9. Death does not scare the number 9. The number 9 is already prepared to leave this world because they're not attached. Understand? And we are all going to catch up with that. So anyway, I want to talk your ears off. Question, comment, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Show your support. You know what I mean? All you lurkers in the background. I got like 89, 88 lurkers back out here. You know what I'm saying? 88 lurkers sitting in the background. Don't want to show no support. You know what I mean? None of that, you know. But it's all good, you know, because God support me regardless. And for the few who do, you know, it's abundance. It's abundance. And I appreciate every one of you. So anyway, thank you for listening.